What do you worry about the most? Getting the top grades in your class? Making sure you put in just enough effort at work in order to get that raise you've been longing for? Maybe you're worried about Christmas presents already, since it's almost December. Or maybe you're watching this in the future, desperately in search of something to pass the time while we wait for the current pandemic to pass. But imagine if one day there was nothing left. Your classmates gone. Your friends and distant family gone. No internet, no phones, no radio communication. Imagine losing your house, your street, your city, and your country. What do you do? Where do you go? Japan Sinks 2020, aka Nippon Chinbotsu, is originally a novel that was released in Japan in 1973 by writer Sakyo Komatsu, but has since been made into different adaptations. The newest adaptation, Japan Sinks 2020, is a Netflix adaptation, and actually a good adaptation for once, where the narrative has been slightly adapted to fit a modern-day setting, and is probably the best depiction of our everyday life in 2020 that I've ever seen in any anime. Japan Sinks 2020 explores topics such as xenophobia, globalization, gaming as a sport, and accessibility, among others, and it does so in such a way that feels absolutely natural. I would almost dare to say that this marks a shift towards a new era of anime. Long have we been stuck in a sort of purgatory where animes have focused on semi-outdated political and social issues, or where the animation and action have been the main focus rather than a strong emotional narrative. In this review, I'm not going to spoil any major plot elements, but I will gently touch upon some of the events and narrative points that make Japan Sinks such a masterpiece. Japan Sinks takes place in Japan in 2020 and follows the footsteps of a family whose lives are torn apart after a devastating earthquake that sets in motion the sinking of the islands of Japan. Already from the first episode, we start to realize just how transient and temporary our lives really are when put into perspective. We humans are just tiny specks of dust compared to the devastating power of the forces of nature. If you've ever been in a fight with someone, or if you've gone through some sort of trauma or you've feared for your life, you'll know the feeling where every single tiny concern is just erased from your mind. It doesn't matter if the homework is done, it doesn't matter how you look, it doesn't matter what you should eat for dinner. The only thing on your mind is to do anything you can in order to survive. Japan Sinks very effectively places us in this emotional fight or flight state from the very first episode, and makes sure it stays throughout the whole series, as no matter how things may seem to turn brighter, you never know when everything can suddenly come crashing down and you're down to zero again, or even less. No characters are pure good or evil, but are rather morally gray, and each have their own goals and understandable reasoning for their actions. Japan Sinks is animated by Science Saru, who have opted for a much more hand-drawn animation style, which honestly really doesn't look like any modern anime out there. Rather than the overly bombastic or flamboyant art style we often see in anime nowadays, everything and everyone are depicted in a mundanely realistic and true-to-life art style. After finishing the series, the only thing I can think of is how meaningless so much of our lives really are. We spend so much time caring so much about things that won't matter in 10, 20, or 50 years from now. But at the same time, it motivates me so much to work harder to level up my survival skills and to improve my own physique so that if I ever end up in a life-threatening situation, I might have a chance to survive. The feeling after finishing the series is quite hard to describe, and the only thing I can really say if you haven't already watched it is that you should just go watch it right away. It's a 10-episode anime on Netflix, available worldwide, both dubbed and subbed to multiple different languages. Personally, I always watch it with subtitles since I've studied Japanese. If you're interested in learning Japanese or any other language, come join the Discord server. There's the link in the description. I also stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Twitch. I do a lot of Duolingo there, so if you're interested in languages, feel free to hang out. Or if I happen to have any knowledge about any language you want to learn, then let's have a chat. And don't forget to support the channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing the video. And I'll see you in the next one. またね。